Hello and welcome to my channel, Re-Vera. My name is Steve, and thanks for coming by. So today I wanted to talk about something I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and it kind of opens this whole can of worms, and it's difficult to talk about just because it can get complicated. I'm going to try to at least broach the subject quickly, but this is very important. If we want the left to win, we need to understand why the left isn't winning. What systemic biases are helping the other side, and what is going on that is causing us not to win. So what we're talking about today is why every point, every bit of rhetoric from the modern right is absolutely freaking stupid. Why is that? Now, if you're right wing and you happen to find this video, I want to clarify very quickly. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying the rhetoric is stupid. And if you disagree, I'm happy to talk about it. Right-wing values aren't necessarily wrong. It's just none of their policies follow any kind of justifiable principles or values in a consistent way. And their rhetoric is just pants on head stupid. Like everything they say, everything that comes out of their pundits, even their think tanks, it's just really dumb. I mean, look at the latest thing with Trump and Woodward, and how he lied about COVID and downplayed it. And he's spinning it as he didn't want to panic the American people. This is Trump. He tweets something every single fucking day trying to spread fear. He's the worst fearmonger we've ever had in this country. You trying to tell me he wasn't trying to spread panic? He only cares about panic if it would hurt him. And, you know, since he owns stocks, of course panic hurts him, because he's not actually scared about the American people. He's scared about the stock market because that hurts him and his golf buddies. So yeah, that's a pants on head stupid point, and yet a lot of the right's going to defend it. Now, if we're talking about how the left needs to win, it seems odd that we need to talk about how the right wing's points are so stupid, because wouldn't that help us win? It is so weird to look at this, and it's all fucking stupid. Like, if you try to talk about universal health care, they're gonna come at you with like some anecdote of somebody in Canada who had to wait 3 years for a hip replacement. Anecdotes are not evidence, and yet like 90% of conservative arguments seem to be anecdotes. Like, there is data, and the data shows Canada is not much worse in terms of wait times than the United States is. Plus, they don't have to pay anything. They pay half what we do per capita on average. Okay. So yeah, all of their points, you can go through it, are stupid. And yet they seem to be winning online and in real life to a large degree, a lot more than the left is. So why? And that's brings me into a more interesting and complicated discussions, because I think we need to discuss memetics first, which Richard Dawkins came up with, and I wouldn't call it a branch of science. A lot of people have discredited it as science, which I'm not here to say it is science. I'm just here to say it's a very useful metaphor. It's a very useful way of thinking about the advancement of ideas. So it basically works like this. Evolution through natural selection is the process whereby self-replicating code-based organisms replicate imperfectly, just randomly, and then the ones that have the code that best helps them survive and replicate best survive and replicate, and then they take over the population. And his idea was that formal language works the same way. That's what makes humans different from all the other animals. We have this second set of code that can mutate and spread a lot faster because it's not dependent upon life cycles of populations and stuff like that. So an idea is kind of like a gene, and it passes through human minds. That's the environment, and whatever best survives and replicates in the human mind best survives and replicates and takes over the population of ideas. And there can be millions of bad ideas that don't spread, but one good idea going viral and it takes over the population becomes like a meme we all understand. And of course, this is where memes came from. Richard Dawkins came up with that. So, like, once you understand this, which is just true, it's a metaphor, but it is true. Like, it's not to say that an idea that spreads is actually a good idea. It's just one that survives and replicates in the human mind the best. So, like, now that we have that metaphor, imagine you go to an island and you see a bird with a funny beak. You're not going to say, oh wow, look at that. This bird evolved this weird beak in spite of evolution and natural selection. Well, no. Natural selection is a law. If there's a population of animals with some kind of trait, it's because it either is evolutionarily advantageous or it was. It has to be. And it works the same way with ideas. When we notice that all of the right wing's rhetoric is pants on head fucking stupid, there's a reason for that. It's actually advantageous. It has to be, or it wouldn't be like that. If we could just easily debunk it and then the right was done, it would have happened by now. But it hasn't. What happens is they say something stupid, and then, okay, let me just freeze it there. So we talked about evolution and memetics, but let me now bring in another element, and that is the world of the internet plus capitalism. The internet plus capitalism led to a handful of companies monopolizing the internet, for one, and for two, it led to the creation of algorithms which are designed to maximize engagement, because all they care about is profit, and they get their profit by having attention, by having eyeballs, by selling ads to you or to other people for you to watch. So now we live in this world where everything online is governed by algorithms designed to optimize engagement. So that's part of the environment on which ideas go viral on. It's not just the human mind, it's also these engagement algorithms. Well, what happens if, let's just say one week, all of a sudden, in contradiction to the norm, all the think tanks spread this talking point to all the right-wing pundits that was actually like made you stop and think. Even on the left, you were like, oh man, that's a good point. It's actually like well thought out, nuanced. What would happen? Well, for one thing, not very many people would even freaking hear about it. It would not go viral in the same way. People would hear about it, and then a lot of people would be like, oh, I don't really have time to get into that. That's complicated. For another thing, what conversations did happen would be better conversations. You know, the talking point would still be wrong because the right wing's wrong on pretty much everything. But, you know, leftists who disagreed would have more nuanced discussions, more thoughtful, less snarky, more intellectually honest with the right, and in the end, it would actually hurt the right. Because nuanced discussion that's intellectually honest never helps the right. So making smarter points would not help them, which might seem backwards, but it wouldn't. Now, if we're talking about algorithms designed to optimize engagement, I've been in discussion groups for a decade, just debating everything I can with the best people I can because I care about truth. And if people disagree with me, I want to know why. And it became something of a hobby to me. And I've seen so many posts in groups that have tens of thousands of active members where somebody puts out a really interesting, nuanced argument, and it gets hardly any engagement. Again, I feel because people see it and if they disagree, they feel like they don't have time to get into it because it takes work to get into a good argument if you disagree with it. However, if somebody posts something stupid, like if you're in an evolution versus creation group, somebody will post, if evolution is true, why are there still monkeys, atheist hard, all misspelled and bad grammar and shit. And that's going to have 500 comments within an hour because it doesn't take much time, energy to refute it. So everybody who disagrees is going to be like, oh, that's stupid. Let me tell you about why real quick. And people who kind of agree with it, but, they're going to jump in there to disagree, but they're probably going to be more nuanced than the actual OP was. They're like, yeah, well, the OP said it wrong, but the point is this. And what happens is it lights off this firestorm of engagement because it doesn't take much time, energy for that initial disagreement. And the algorithms love engagement. So that means that this post is popping up in more people's feeds, more people getting notifications about it, et cetera, because it's driving engagement. Because it's stupid. Which is amazing. The algorithms love controversy, and not nuanced controversy. Shallow, simple controversy. So that's why I believe all right-wing rhetoric is freaking fucking stupid. And it's not like every point the right wing has ever made is stupid. It's just the ones that go viral, the ones you see are fucking stupid. Because that's what the algorithm likes. So what can we do about that? Because we are at a structural disadvantage here, and I don't even think it's intentional necessarily, because the left, while also being shallow to a degree, is a lot more ideological than the right. The right's a lot more psychologically, they value authority and they value tribalism. That's why they're typically racist, whether they agree with that or not. If you disagree, I'd love to demonstrate it. It's not very difficult to demonstrate that the mainstream right is racist. So yes, they're very tribalistic. It's us versus them. It's the amount of fear-mongering they have against liberals is amazing. Most conservatives who spend much time at all listening to right-wing pundits think liberals and leftists are the enemies of America. It's kind of sad. So it's very tribalistic thinking, very authoritarian. And because of that, when they see something that they disagree with, or that they agree with, they're more likely to share it. So what goes viral the most for the right is points that are as stupid as is possible and yet still be agreed with by people who already agree with the conclusion, which isn't that difficult. But because the point is, if they share it, now they're kind of attached to it. So when somebody comes by and points out how stupid it is, probably with a whole lot of snark, because we're all looking for that hot take, that slam dunk, just kind of, put that stupid point in its place, they get defensive because now they're trying to defend their tribal authority and their own ego because they shared it, and they're going to start defending it and arguing, and this is great for engagement. And then more people come along and follow in, and discussions happen that are like mad and hot takes back and forth, and it's great for engagement. And it's not great for the left because they don't agree with it because of the logic. They agree with it because that's their tribe. This same dynamic, instead of helping the left, it tends to hurt the left more than anything, because we care more about principles and ideology. We're also tribalists, but there's that extra element. And so we have leftists infighting more than anything because we disagree with each other. And it's easier to disagree with each other than these right-wingers who leftists are likely to consider a lost cause. So it's lower time energy to slam other leftists and there's a lot of stupid points the leftists make against other leftists, and then the leftists are disagreeing with it, and it's just further splintering the left. It's not helping us. I've been watching Vosh for a long time, and if you're looking to maximize online clout engagement, I think he's an interesting study, whether you like him or not, because he is, I'm pretty damn sure, the fastest growing leftist online. He's went from like 50,000 to 200,000 subs this year alone. He's very fast growing. And the model that's helped him, whether it's intentional or not, is one where he goes viral pretty often in a bad way for something he said, something that gets clipped, and it causes a lot of hate towards him. It causes a lot of engagement, a lot of people arguing about it. And in this attention economy, any attention is good attention if you're just looking for relevance online. And what happens is people eventually become curious because they keep seeing his name, and they start watching him, and then they go, oh, it's not actually as bad as they made it sound. All these things, these scandals that spread, are a lot more justifiable than it would seem if you were just on Twitter. So he's kind of got this special angle of controversy, things that get clipped that create a lot of controversy because it's simple, it's easy, it's hot. But if you actually look into it in any more depth, it's justified, largely. So that's important to the left, because if somebody just says something stupid or hateful and we disagree with it, then we'll just slam them. Now, this is different than the right. The right will defend their authorities, their pundits, their favorite people, no matter what, even if they did say something stupid and they know it's stupid. We're a lot more likely to throw people we like under the bus because they said something stupid or hateful. So it's important for the left to actually be justifiable. And making hot takes can help you. Having people disagree with them can help you online, but ultimately they need to be justifiable. Otherwise, you're not going to go very far with leftists. But that said, the answer to the left winning is never going to be online. So I'm at work now. I got to go. There's a whole lot more subjects we need to explore if we care about the left winning, which we should if we care about making the world a better place. And there's a lot more reasons the left can't win online. I think it's still important to do online activism. We don't want to just abandon the space. I think it's important to grow your clout and relevance if you can. But ultimately, the left is not going to win based on anything we do online. What needs to happen is you need to meet people in real life, build rapport, and get through to them on a personal level, because it's the only way real change happens with these people. So anyway, I'd love to talk more about that in the future as well. But thanks for coming by. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Let me know if you disagree with something. Like I said, if you're right-wing, I would love to talk to you. I have a standing debate. I'm going to be adding right-wing topics to my $500 challenge. So if you have one you'd like to suggest that you'd like to talk about, glad to add it. I'll have to look at it. But basically any talking point from mainstream right-wing people, I'm very confident I can demonstrate it's pants on head stupid. So let me know. I have my different ways of contacting me in the description. Thanks. Have a good one.